Settle. Settle.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Settle. Settle, are you ready to start the Dhamma talk?
Okay.
Yes. Okay. My name is Seattle, and good evening, everyone. Good morning for everyone in the East Hemisphere. Welcome to the 7-day plus 14-day Samatha-Vipassanā Meditation Retreat conducted by Sarah Uaganya and Sarah Kovida. Today, Sarah Kovida will continue with Dhamma talk number 2 on the Bojjhanga Sutta. Today's session is scheduled to last 1.5 hours, with 1 hour 15 minutes on coursework and remaining 15 minutes on Q&A. May we invite Seattle to start today's Dhamma talk, and may we invite both interpreter Bante to start the translation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
We will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Today we have to continue the Bojjhanga Sutta. So in this part, I have to explain Mara's armies. So there are 10 Mara's army. The first one is Kama, the 5 sensual pleasure or the 5 sensual objects. 2. Arati, not delighting in secluded place and meditation. 3. Kubibasa, being hungry or thirsty. Tanha, craving. The 5. Tina mita, sloth and trouble. Then 6. Biru, fear. 7. Vichikita, doubt. 8. Mekha, chamba, ingratitude and arrogance. Labo, siloko, sakaro, micha latocha yoyeso. Gain, fame, honor, and Cambodian revenues, that is gained improperly or illegally. 10. Your chadanam samukanse, Varecha awajanati, is trolling oneself and contempt on others. These are called Mara's armies. So yesterday, we have already talked about the power of Bojjhanga. When we can develop the 7 enlightenment factors, we can also defeat Mara's armies. Then somebody may ask, Mara's army means it is a divine beings or it is just a metaphor? Yeah, in this case, in Bojjhanga Sutta, Mara's army means defilements. So now I have already listed out all Mara's armies. So these Mara's armies are now defilements. You can clearly understand why they are called Mara's armies. So these 10 qualities are metaphorically called Mara's armies, that they can please Mara. That means if we have one of these 10, Mara will be happy. Like when we have to suffer, our enemies are happy. Now Mara himself also thinks that they are his army, that they also call Machusena, the army of death. And when we talk about death, it doesn't mean only our death moment. It also can be the death of our morality, also can be the death of our concentration. It also can be the death of our wisdom. Because when we have one of these 10, our mind is not working properly, then we cannot achieve higher attainment. Some of them are very subtle, but also they are really very disturbing for our improvement. So we have to know one of these is really very dangerous for our practice. We can also know they are obstacles or hindrances to improve. Then again, we will start with the first Malas armies. Now we have two different things about Karma. What is Karma? That is essential objects. Essential object means they are visible objects, audible objects, smell, flavor, and tangible objects. As we have already known these 5, so there are many attractive visual objects. It can please our eyes. We may like this kind of object. Then we are attracted by many different material. We cannot meditate. Similarly, there are very many nice and pleasant sounds. It can please our ears. So after listening very beautiful night sounds, then we cannot meditate well. Our minds will incline to that sound more. Similarly, smell, flavor, and tangible objects. So we may have different preference according to our desire, according to our lifestyles. The most desirable essential object is the more attractive one due to people's reference. For example, there are some people, they like good foods. For them, the flavor will be the best object for them. Sometimes, although we say the flavor, when we are eating, we also like the smell of the foods. So in this case, smell also can be their preference. So it depends on personality. We may have many different essential objects. Mostly, our minds go to what we like most of the time, because the object can bleed our minds. So our mind will go to the pleasant objects most of the time. That's why the second one is a kilesa karma, sensual desire. Although we have very many desirable objects, if we don't have desire, then all the desirable objects are useless. So in every single enjoyment, we need 2 things. The first one is desirable objects. Second one is desire. So when we have attachment to many sensual objects, and when we have attachment to sensual objects, this is called kilesa karma. Then the stronger the defilements we have, the more enemies surround us. Sometimes when our minds incline to many desirable objects, we cannot improve. Okay, now currently all meditators are in the meditation hall. Then we also have to say you are meditating. But mentally, if your mind does not incline to meditation subject, just incline to sensual pleasure, that means you are defeated by Mara's armies. The first one, karma. Okay, here, in this case, if we can live far from the defilements and sensual objects, it will be getting better for us to improve. Bodhisattva himself tried to live far away from defilements and sensual objects. We have some simile about sensual objects and sensual desire. When Bodhisattva was practicing in Uruvela forest, he saw many other ascetics practicing around him. But some of them cannot achieve any attainment. Some of them can achieve up to some level, some conditions. When seeing different people, Bodhisattva also remember 4 similes. So the first simile is a man went to make a fire. So he collects firewood. He cuts a tree. So if we cut the tree newly, it's wet. And some of the trees are really very wet, such as like a rubber tree. There's always we can get rubber from the tree, right? Then we can get it's really very wet. Not only that, he also soak the firewood into the water. After that, he wished to make fire. Then he rubbed against with fire stick. Although he rubbed very diligently, he cannot get fire because the fire is wet. Not only that, soak in the water. Then second man wished to make fire. Then he cut a tree. It's wet, but he didn't soak in the water. He rubbed against with the fire stick. Although he rubbed against it, it cannot produce fire because the wood is wet. Another man wished to make fire again. He just collects dry wood. He rubbed against with a fire stick on it. Then it produces fire. Similarly, in Uruvela forest, there are some ascetics. Although they are meditating, they are practicing. They are innerly wet. That means they have very much attachment. That means they have very strong karma, sensual desire. Not only that, they also have many enjoyable things. It's like following sensual enjoyment. Their mind is also not easy to cut. Sensual desire, their sensual desire is not easy to cut. Then they also have many sensual objects. Then they cannot improve in their practice. They are like the first type. What firewood soaked in the water. There are some meditators, some ascetics in Uruvela forest. Although they don't have many enjoyable things, but their mind inclined to sensual pleasure most of the time. That means they can give up many of their properties, many of their enjoyable things. They can live alone, but their mind just go to enjoyable things most of the time. Although it's not soaked in the water, but the firewood is naturally wet. That's why it cannot produce fire. Similarly, although they don't have sensual objects externally, but they have innerly sensual desire. That is why they cannot improve their meditation. The last one is about dry firewood. They can also live very far from enjoyable things, desirable objects. At the same time, they are also very calm. Their mind is also very calm. Their mind also does not incline to sensual objects. They can practice well. Then we can understand that they are co-practitioner. So in the case of karma, we have to understand two different things. What to karma? Sensual objects. We must be far away from sensual objects. Another one is kilesa karma, sensual desire. Our mind must not incline to all these types of sensual objects or desirable objects or enjoyable things. So if we have both of them, we also have many enjoyable things. Our mind also inclined to sensual objects. That means we are surrounded by Mara's armies. If we are surrounded by Mara's armies, we're going to be free from suffering. We're going to be free from samsara. This is the first part we have to know. Then we have second, arati. Actually, arati means not delighting in, because of say, not delighting in meditation and also secluded place. So when meditating, we have to give up sensual pleasure and live in secluded place. When we improve our meditation, we may delight in meditation. When we cannot meditate well, we will get bored and lazy. Adi means not delighting in meditation and secluded place, such as forest monastery, we are bound to meditate. Okay, if we say not delighting, then we may have many different conditions of arati, not delighting. Some of the not delighting are really useful for meditator. Some of arati are not that much so useful for meditators. Okay, again, Bodhisattva himself have some arati after seeing 4 omens. That means his mind cannot incline to sensual pleasure. On seeing an omen, he got very strong sense of urgency. Then he cannot enjoy any sensual pleasure. His mind inclined to renunciation. In this kind of case, arati means not inclining to or not delighting in sensual pleasure. That kind of arati will be helpful for meditation. But here, in the case of Mara's armies, arati means not delighting in meditation. Compared to sensual pleasure, meditation subject is not that attractive because it's totally drawing objects. For example, breathing meditation, now you are practicing. When we are practicing breathing meditation, we are not seeing colorful things. we are not listening very nice and beautiful sounds, that we don't have good smell, good taste, good tangible objects. It's not enjoyable things. Of course, if we can improve our meditation, then we may delight in meditation. For example, when you have very strong tranquility, rapture, joy, bliss, it will be interesting. Your mind will incline to meditation more. When you start seeing the light, it can be different color, different shapes. It will be interesting. Before improving, then meditation subject is not that much desirable. Anyway, when we have arati, not delight in meditation, is also Mara's army. Also, another thing is secluded place. We have already talked about secluded place many times. Sorry. When we say secluded place, it means we living alone. Living alone means, although we have many people around us, that we can live alone without any communications, without making friends. This kind of things can be considered as proper lifestyles in meditation. We can also say viveka, living in seclusion. So in the case of arati, it mentioned living in the forest monastery. So if we live in the forest monastery, we can live alone. We must survive alone. At the same time, although we live in the forest monastery, if we are not meditating, this is also wasting time. So here are two things: living in seclusion, also meditating. If we are happy with these two conditions, we are free from Mara's armies. If we cannot feel happy alone, and if we cannot meditate well, we are surrounded by Mara's armies. Then we have the third one, Kubipasa. Actually, Kubipasa means thirsty or hungry. We can understand two different things. So here, one more thing we have to understand. In ordinary life, our surviving is dependent on devotees. Because we have to survive what they are supporting. So similarly, when we are meditating, we must have supporter. If somebody is supporting us very well, we can meditate easily. And sometimes we have very strong contentment. Although we don't have very good supporting, we can survive. We have contentment, not that much greedy, that we can be interested in meditation. When we are interested in meditation, we will not be hungry or thirsty. Especially when we have very strong rapture, bliss, joy, and tranquility. We can forget everything around us. That is why when we have good meditations, we will not feel hungry or thirsty. When we cannot meditate well, we may remember many things around us. For example, even boxing sounds, you can disturb our meditation. Similarly, the trees, plants, everything can be disturbing if we cannot meditate well. We may remember many things, including hunger and thirsty, anything desirable or undesirable. So another thing is moderating in foods. The Buddha recommended moderating in foods. That means when we are accepting the foods, we must accept proper amount we can consume. Not only that, when we are eating, also we must consume only suitable food for us. If we eat too much, it will cause drowsiness, which means if we are not moderating in foods, it will cause drowsiness. Not only that, because of too much eating, our body is also not that much easy. We may feel something uneasy in our body. That is why Kovida, hungry or thirsty, is mostly because of the foods. If we have moderating in foods, it will be easier. If we are not moderating in foods, it's not that easy. So the Buddha also recommended to moderate in foods. Another thing is, if we can moderate in foods, it's easier for donors to support us. It's also easier lifestyle for ordinary person, for a meditator. Then, if we have rapture, tranquility, not only tranquility, there are many other good mental factors, such as calmness, bliss, joy, and anything. There is no more hunger and thirst. So sometimes when we have very strong joy, we can forget everything. So you may have some experiences in your life. Sometimes you are so happy that you cannot eat well, you cannot sleep well because of happiness. Similarly, if we can find something enjoyable, something useful in meditation, we can forget everything around us. Okay, if we talk about Kovida, whenever we are hungry or thirsty, or we just remember hungry or thirsty at the time we are surrounded by Mara's army. Again, when we are going to talk about the next one, Tanha, craving. Okay, here when we talk about Tanha, I actually introduce one Pali word. This is in Pali, Pariyesana Tanha. Pariyesana means longing for, or seeking or searching for. So sometimes we can also say we are waiting for, or longing for, or searching for good things. They are also mentioned. It is also longing for choice foods, dwellings, clothes, medicine, and so on. So that means sometimes we think that we are special people. I should have special foods, choice foods. I should have special living place. I should have special clothes. I should have special medicine. I should have special supports. We have many expectations. So we are looking for good things, good quality. If we have this kind of dynamic, this kind of attachment, we cannot improve. So contentment is very simple words, but it's not that easy to follow and practice. When we say contentment, we must content with whatever thing we have got. If we are longing for impossible things, it's just wasting our mental energy. Similarly, we may have living place, clothes, and medicine. If we cannot content with living place, the clothes, medicine we have got, Now we have to look for many other new things. It makes us busy unnecessarily. That is why when we have to meditate, we must have contentment. If we do not content with, if we do not content with the properties we have got, then we cannot meditate well. This is also expectation. This is also greed. Actually, it will be very many things about Dana. When we have attachment to other objects, our minds will not incline to that. So our mind will incline to the objects. We will not delight in meditation. So when we are going to meditate, we have to give up many things. So sometimes we have many valuable things. We may keep in our house, for example. You may keep in your house. When you're meditating, your mind will go to the place, your favorite objects. So we have to cut all these kind of things. In the case of Dana, longing for, we call Priyasana. Priyasana means longing for, or looking for, or seeking, or searching for. We can also translate as an expectation. So we must be very careful. For example, some meditator, on hearing many other meditators reporting, seeing the light, seeing the nimitta, they are looking for the light. They're trying to create the light. This is also expectation. If we expect like that, we cannot improve easily. So anyway, whenever we talk about Dana, don't expect many things. Don't look for many desirable things. In the case of meditation, whether we like or dislike, is our practice. Like when we have sickness, we have to take medicine whether we like or dislike. Similarly, when we are meditating, we just eat the foods to sustain this body. We just live in our living place to protect ourselves from heat and cold. We just wear the clothes to protect our body from heat and cold and mosquito bites and any other insect bites. We just take medicine to cure sickness in our body, no more than that. If we expect special quality, also special experiences, then it's also called Dana. If we have all this kind of mindsets, we are surrounded by Mara's armies. So if we are surrounded by Mara's army, we cannot improve. We are defeated by Mara's army. Again, we have the next one, Tina Metta. Actually, Tina Metta also can be both bodily and mentally. Bodily, we become very tired. Mentally also, we become very tired. At the time, we have Tina Metta. Our mind is inactive, sluggish, and lazy when we cannot improve our meditation. Then sometimes we will feel drowsy when our body is weak or tired. Actually, not only that, sometimes when we are lazy, our efforts and concentration are very far, very different power. At that time, we may fall asleep. We may feel drowsy. So meditation is knowing one object constantly. If we are wise and intelligent, we can know one object constantly. The Buddha also explains many ways to overcome drowsiness. Actually, we have many different objects to overcome drowsiness. Then we have one discourse to Venerable Kovida. The first one is changing the perception. When Venerable Kovida was meditating, he was drowsy. The Buddha taught him how to overcome drowsiness. So changing perception is the first step. Okay, now it will be a little bit difficult for new meditators. For your understanding, if we say easily, changing perception means when you are knowing normal breathing, okay, just try to know whole breath body from the very beginning to the end on the touching point. This is also called changing perception. Just normally knowing breathing, but change perception. Another thing is thinking about text or some chanting mentally. So the first one is to think about the meaning of the Pali. For example, Namo Tassa. Just try to know, analyze the meaning of Namo Tassa. Another one is chanting mentally. We can chant Namo Tassa and any other stanza or sutta we like, we can chant mentally. We can also overcome drowsiness. Then if we cannot overcome it, we can also massage our ear. Then we can overcome drowsiness. The another thing is like washing the face. Just go to the center or somewhere to wash the face. Then we have another one. This is we call aloka. Aloka means the light. So in the case of Venerable Kovida, he had very strong brightness. You can imagine he has very strong psychic power. That's why when he was meditating, he had very strong brightness. When we have very strong brightness, just pay attention to brightness, then we can overcome drowsiness. If we cannot overcome, we can also do walking meditation. These are the ways to overcome drowsiness. And not only that, we also have many other information and many other objects, many other suttas. For example, when we feel drowsy, we have to remember which kind of foods cause drowsy. Then the next time we can avoid eating that kind of foods. It will be easier for us. So Tina Metta, in this case, we can also say laziness. Another thing is tiredness. I think you may have already learned practically in your practice. Mostly when I have to give instructions, I just remind them not to use too much mind power, too much mental energy. For example, sometimes we cannot satisfy with our practice. We put more efforts in order to know breathing clearly and deeply. Although we have deeper concentration, we cannot satisfy with that condition. We may put a little bit more effort. It will get deeper. The more efforts get deeper, more effort, more effort. Finally, we cannot maintain. We can drop totally, then we have to start from 0. When this kind of thing happen many times, start from 0, just go up, making effort, go up, then drop, just go up, go up, go up. If this kind of thing happen many times, we become tired. Within 1 hour, we don't have any energy to continue meditating. In this case, we can say up and down of effort. Your effort is up and down, then you cannot maintain well. Then become tired. If you put very strong mind power, very strong body energy, if you put very extreme efforts, you cannot maintain more than 20 minutes. Your body become very tired. Your mind become very tired. No more energy. Just sitting and thinking. So that means when our mind and body become very tired, at the time we can say Chinamita. We may be lazy, then we may give up meditating, we may give up focusing on the breath. Anything can happen. At the time, we are surrounded by Mara's armies. Then the next one, Biru. Actually, Biru means fear. When we have a very quiet mind, fear arises. Although we hear a soft stepping sound or by any other sound around us. So this is the normal. Mostly, people are not very familiar with quietness and calmness. When we are meditating, anytime our minds can be very calm and very quiet. There are some meditators I have met in my life as teacher. When they have calmness of the mind, they cannot meditate anymore. They stop meditating. Then there are some meditators, when they have very much calmness and quietness, they are excited. They cannot continue meditating. This kind of thing also can happen. Now, when you read many books about meditation, written by many different meditation teachers, then some teacher may mention something about ghost or Mara. And you may have read this kind of books, right? I also have read many books like that. Actually, it's not truth. When our minds become very calm and quiet, whatever our mind incline, it can happen. So that is why we think Mara come to attract us or to disturb us. Or ghosts come, ghosts approach us. Actually, there's no such things in our meditation. I think some meditator from Singapore may remember, right? So in the question, one of the questions asked me, when we are meditating, can Maras come to disturb us? This kind of question come in Singapore. At the time, I just answer very simple. Mara is busy with special people. Mara is not interested in ordinary people. Right? Most of the meditators are ordinary. That means we are ordinary. We are not special. Mara is not interested in ordinary people like us. He is just interested in special people, extraordinary people. So that means you may have only short-time meditation, right? It's not interested. Mara is not interested in that kind of meditators. If you are a very strong meditator, whole day, whole night, many months, many years, sure, he will be interested in that kind of meditator. Okay, the main thing is, when we say fear, we have many different levels of fear, many different types of fear. In Pali, we have Aramana Bhaya. Aramana Bhaya means the fearful objects. When seeing, smelling, hearing, or touching fearful things, then we may have fear. In this kind of case, we can say Aramana Bhaya, the fear produced by the objects. Another thing is Chittodarasa Bhaya. Chittodarasa Bhaya means mind-made fear. Sometimes we just create fear by ourselves. For example, in the darkness, in the dark room, you may have fear. This is not really fearful things. You just have fearful minds. Your mind create that kind of fear. Actually, we are safe. Now I live in Himalaya. It's a very deep forest. Right? At night, very quiet. So if somebody just like quietness, it will be, right, very big problem. He or she may fear. Because sometimes when we have very much quietness, calmness of the mind also, fear may arise. At that time, we can say mind-made fear. Most of the meditators have this problem. When we are meditating, whatever condition we have, it's okay, not disturbing. Calmness, as long as our mind does not incline to it most of the time, it will be okay. Sometimes we have a quietness of the mind, our mind also inclined to it frequently. Not only that, our mind recall the quietness many times. If we recall like that, it becomes stronger quietness, then fear may arise. Sometimes, as I have mentioned here, we thought that Maras come or ghosts come. In reality, it's not happening. Just mind-made fear, mind-made Mara, mind-made ghost. Okay, if we have fear also, a lot of fear also, this is also Mara's army. So you must be very careful, right? But I remember one case, King Ajatasattu. I think you have known his name. After killing his father, he cannot sleep well. Every time when he was going to sleep, he wake up as if many people come and going to stab spear into his body. So he screamed and he wake up. He cannot sleep many nights. He wanted to see the Buddha. Then brought by the physician, Jivaka, he visited the monastery. When he was closer and closer to the monastery, then he had very strong fear because he was not very familiar with quietness. He has known that there are many hundreds of bhikkhus in the monastery. When we get closer and closer, he cannot hear any sounds of the bhikkhus, even coughing or laughing sound near the monastery. Then he has very strong fear because his mind does not incline to quietness. So now monastery is very quiet. This is also called mind-made fear. It's not really fearful objects. Okay, we have another type of fear we call Sahottapapaya, we can say moral fear. Actually, moral fear is a good quality. That means we may hesitate to do evil. In this case, we can say we have moral fear. If we have moral fear, then we can also observe precepts well. We can be good person. The last one is jnana bhaya. Jnana bhaya means the fear produced by wisdom. Mostly when we have fear, we don't have wisdom. We cannot be wise anymore. But in the case of jnana bhaya, that means we have sense of urgency, then we become wiser. So here in the case of biru, it can be aramana bhaya, fearful objects. It also can be chirudarasa bhaya, mind-made fear. Mostly, biru means mind-made fear. Our minds are not very familiar with quietness, calmness, stability, then there's fear. Okay, now we have to move the next one. Vicikiccha, doubt or skepticism. If we cannot improve, we may suspect that the path we are practicing is right or wrong. When we can enjoy the bliss of solitude, we may not have any kind of skepticism. We have many kinds of doubts. For example, doubt about Buddha's quality and Buddha's attainment. This also can be considered as arrow in the heart. That means an arrow stuck in our heart. If we cannot remove, we cannot improve. Similarly, doubt about Dhamma's quality, doubt about Noble Sangha and Sangha's quality. If we have any kind of these doubts, we cannot improve. Like we are standing in the junction, crossroads. We don't know where to go. We cannot make proper decision. That's also called vicikiccha. Not only that, when we talk about vicikiccha, we also have to know doubt about the trainings. We may have doubt about the training morality, also the benefits of morality. Not only that, we may also have doubt about concentration, of the benefit of concentration. I think in your community, you may have heard many information about concentration. There are some meditator. Then they believe that samatha is not important. Vipassana is more important. There are some teachers, they also say, if you practice samatha, you will go crazy. They also have that kind of information. So there are many different teachers. They have different approach. Then they also criticize different part of Buddha teaching. For example, I have read one articles. Without jhana, can we practice vipassana? Then I can say yes. It's very simple. Without attaining jhana, but we must attain asset concentration, citta visuddhi, the purifications of the mind. If we have purifications of the mind, we can practice vipassana. But the author writes many problems of samatha. It's not very important. It's wasting time. or many criticizing about jhana or concentrations or samatha. Actually, the way we approach should be simple. If we can attain as a concentration, this is also purification of the mind. If we can attain jhana, it is better. Sometimes because of different informations, we have doubt about the practice. Is it really necessary to practice samatha or not? And sometimes we may think it's not necessary to attain jhana, to practice samatha. So by having many informations, we get confused. We have a lot of doubts. When we have doubts about the practice, we cannot improve. This is also called Maras Amis. Not only that, we also have many other doubts in our life. Some of them are beyond our imaginary. For example, doubt about the past lives, doubt about future lives. It's beyond imaginary. But if we can practice well, if we can discern cause of a relationship of the past and present, we will know clearly there's the past lives, there is future lives. So briefly, if we have many doubts, we cannot improve, especially in the case of Maras Amis. Vicikicca means doubt about the practice, the path we are following. If we have many doubt about it, we cannot improve. That's why whenever we have doubts, we must remember we are surrounded by Maras Amis. Okay, now the next one. Mecca and Tamba. Here, in this case, this will be the last part for today's talk. Mecca and Tamba. Actually, Mecca means ingratitude. Tamba means pride or arrogance. So actually, both of them come from mana, pride. If there will be some other reasons of Mecca, ingratitude. Okay, later, I have to explain. So this is a kind of pride. When we can improve, we think that our improvement is not because of the teacher, and it's because of our own ability. This is just an example. Here, I just say very simple thing, teacher, right? But in reality, in practical life, there are many other issues. For example, they may think that they can experience more than the Buddha said. That means they don't feel any thanks to the Buddha. So in this kind of case, we can say ingratitude. The non-modern society is very messy. Many teachers, they create new way of practice. They may think they have creativity, right? They may think that their creation is stronger. This is modern society, right? Everybody say creativity. That's why they create. After creating many different things, then people get confused. Some of the creations are very far from original teaching. Then they may say, it's not the positive. This sutta is not useful. Just follow this way. This sutta is just fake. Just follow this way. They may have many new creations. They also mislead people. Then they don't thank to the Buddha. They think they have their own ability to create new meditation traditions. This is called Mecca. Tamba. Tamba means we can say like a stubborn or arrogance. So that kind of people are not very flexible. Although some people guide them proper way, they are not ready to accept. They just grasp their own tradition, their own way. Then if somebody is not very flexible, when we are doing something good, then we cannot improve also. So another thing, this is ingratitude, just trying respecting teacher for his ability. Then a knowledge. If ingratitude and arrogance become very powerful, we may not respect anybody. So in modern society, many people talk about respect, right? Mutual respect, self-respect, many types of respect. If we don't know how to respect other people for their ability and their skill, then we may not follow their footsteps. We may not emulate the way they practice. Then we cannot improve. Especially if somebody has good quality, we must emulate the way they practice. So ingratitude and disrespect can destroy our future and development. So in the case of Mecca and Tamba, especially if we say Mecca, there can be many other things. It also can be caused by mana, arrogance. It also can be caused by hatred, anger, or grudge. So the main thing is, if our mind is not very flexible to accept the truth, then we cannot improve. Here, I should introduce two different types of mana. The first type, we have mana, but although we have mana pride, we still accept the truth. That kind of mana is okay. Even Anagami may have this kind of mana. Although they are proud of their ability, but when somebody says something truth, they may follow. They may accept it. That's why that kind of mana is allowable. Even Anagami has this kind of mana. But one more thing here, sometimes our pride or our mana, we can say like arrogance or stubborn, when our mana becomes very strong, although we know the truth, we don't accept. There are many people, they want to know the truth. They also know the truth, but they still have wrong view. They don't wish to give up their wrong view because of mana. Then you may know one of the ascetic, Sataka Parivajaka. He come and debate with the Buddha about anatta. He liked the Buddha's teaching. He liked the perceptions of anatta. But he was so arrogant that even he didn't say, "Blessed one, please accept me as your disciple." He didn't say. He just grasped his own idea and his death moment. So the main thing is, sometimes when we have very strong mana, here we can say tamba. Tamba means very strong mana, arrogance, or stubborn. Then if we have very strong tamba, we cannot improve. Then this also Mara's armies, especially when we experience new things, we may have mana. When we can overcome many difficulties in meditation, we may have mana. When we have this kind of tamba, mana means pride, arrogance, or stubbornness. When we have all these kind of defects, we cannot improve. We are surrounded by Mara's armies. Okay, today I will stop here. These are Mara's armies in our daily life. So Mara himself also thought they are his army. When we have all these things, we are pleasing Mara. Mara will be very happy. So if we can overcome all these things, we can improve. To overcome all these things, we must develop the enlightenment fetters. So today, I cannot start enlightenment fetters. Tomorrow, I may start enlightenment fetters, the first part. Okay? May you all be able to practice the 3 trainings, and may you all be able to realize the final cessation and not suffering.
Thank you, Sayadaw. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sayadaw, shall we proceed to the question and answer?
Okay.
Okay. Dear participant, you may send your questions to the Zoom chat, or you may raise your hand, and then Brother Jia Hong will bring the mic to you. Question from the floor? Any questions?
Thank you, Sayadaw.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for your compassion and kindness. Please, I have a few questions regarding the training. Thank you, Sayadaw. So question number 1, if the yogis chose not to practice samadhi, anapana concentration meditation, and only sit down to observe any objects of meditation, such as our breaths, in or out, feeling joy, happy, sad, etc., and any chitta mind stage, such as greed, anger, wholesome or unwholesome state of mind, all being noted or aware, will that person still able to attain the noble path and fruition of sainthood or nibbana, Sayadaw? Thank you, Sayadaw.
Okay. When we talk about noble foods, we should understand the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay? So when we say Noble Eightfold Path, one of the Noble Eightfold Path is Samadhi, right concentration. In the sense of right concentration, it mentions 8 attainments and asset concentration. Okay, in your community, maybe you may have many different informations. There are some scholars, they don't accept commentary. Some scholars, they may accept commentary and sub-commentary. So according to Pali Canon, the first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, the fourth jhana, they are called right concentration. So if we have right concentrations, then we may have wisdom. Right? That's why when we wish to attain noble path of fruition knowledge, we must practice Noble Eightfold Paths. So we must fully, right, complete Noble Eightfold Paths. If we say following all about the body, discerning everything, then we don't have concentration. We don't have right concentrations. If we don't have right concentration, we may have only Noble Sevenfold Paths, not Eightfold Paths. Okay? That is why post Noble Sevenfold Paths, we cannot go to Nibbana. We must practice Noble Eightfold Paths completely. Okay?
And another question is that Sayadaw mentioned yesterday about the nimitta belongs to conventional truth, not the ultimate truth. Then how can it appear in the mind or created from the mind? And then
Okay.
And then for the breathing, so we are, a lot of us still confused about the touching point
Okay.
of the in front of the nose area, and the touching point of the breath and the breath itself.
Okay.
So where should we student keep our mind on? Whether the touching point or the breath itself?
Okay. So now you have two questions, right? The first one is a concept. Actually, some misunderstanding about concept and ultimate truth. We should use another one, conventional truth and ultimate truth. It will be easier to understand. For example, conventional truth. We have many different parts of conventional truth in our daily life. Mostly when we are speaking, we just use conventional truth. For example, human being, or a man or a woman. When we say a man, that means there's a body, head also another name, head. Also in the head also there are many other things. Head hair, also eyebrows, the forehead, many parts. Combinations of all the parts is called head, right? Just naming combination of many things as a head. Similarly, combinations of all the things is called man. If we analyze, we're gonna find really man or woman or anything, right? For example, if we say, my name is Kovida, right? Kovida. What's Kovida? For example, head hair is not Kovida, it's head hair. Right? For example, forehead is not Kovida, it's forehead. Similarly, you have eyebrows, eyelash, everything, right? This is different name. Combinations of everything is called Kovida, right? So this is called conventional truth. Without conventional truth, we cannot communicate. So similarly, breathing and breathe out. This is a conventional truth. According to ultimate reality, is a mind-produced materialities. It produced by mind, it also materialities. So this is also made of, breathing is also made of small particles. In every single particles, there are different types of materialities. These are called ultimate reality. Okay, so different angles. Okay, another thing, the second part in your question, confusion with breathing and the touching point. Actually, it's a little bit easier. You can know one of the three, the in-breath, the out-breath, or the touching point. So if you emphasize on touching point also, sometimes there will be side effects. You may feel tension. So it depends on your breathing system. Sometimes you may know only the in-breath. Okay, just keep no in-breath. Don't think about out-breath or touching point. Sometimes you just know the out-breath. You don't know the in-breath. Just focus the out-breath. Don't think about the in-breath or the touching point. Sometimes you just know the touching sensation around the nostril. Your breath disappears. In this case also, just try to know the sensation, but don't force too much. So one more thing, if you get confused, that means you analyze too much. In the case of concepts, conventional truths, the more we analyze, the more it becomes complicated, the more it becomes messy. That's why make your mind simple. If we say breathing, it must be breathing, okay? Don't analyze too much. If you analyze, your mind gets confused. If we say touching sensation, it should be touching sensation, touching point. Don't analyze how far, how near, how big, how small. If you analyze too much, you will get confused. Okay? So that means more natural focusing.
Chúng ta
Okay.
nếu chúng ta phân tích nhiều quá thì chúng ta sẽ bị rối. Điều đó có nghĩa rằng chúng ta
Sarah, so Sarah said that the touching point is that we know is just touching. That's it. No further analyzing, right?
Sure. Not analyzing, just knowing simply, right? Make your mind simple. Okay?
Yes. Instead of like a mantra, breathe in, breathe out, but mindlessly without knowing.
Mind?
Mindlessly, like
Mindlessly, no.
It's like a mantra. Breathe in, breathe out, but without knowing it. So the touching is the one that we need to focus on.
Okay,
right,
okay.
Sarah?
Three, right? You can know one of the three. Anyone is okay, right? Not mentally chanting or anything. Just keep knowing it. Okay? That means when we go and in the sutta, it just mentioned just mindfully breathe in, just mindfully breathe out. Okay? In your daily life, you're also breathing. But when you are meditating, just mindfully breathe in, mindfully breathe out. That means you must keep knowing breathing. Okay?
Yes, Sarah. And I have one more question. Sorry. So there are some yogis during sitting meditation. They can sit for many hours. And then somehow their body is moving around or sometimes nodding as if they falling asleep. Might be in Phawanga stage. Is this because they have high concentration or is just simply because they're sleeping?
Okay.
Yes, and regarding the bodily postures, does that mean like they yes? So they really deep in concentration or they're just sleeping?
Okay, so in this case, if they don't take a nap or if they don't rest too much, enough resting, then they may feel some drowsy for maybe for 45 minutes or something. Right? For example, after lunch, if you don't take a nap, maybe you may feel drowsy for half an hour to 45 minutes. It's normal. After that, you can overcome drowsiness. You can keep doing breathing. Okay, it depends on many conditions. So that means they don't rest too much. That's why they feel drowsy. Or maybe their bodies are not functioning very well. Anyway, actually, what about swing or anything, right? Moving here and there, this kind of case, sometimes when they follow the breathing too much, it can happen. For example, they follow the in-breath too much, then their body will bend forwards. When they follow the out-breath, right? They will follow their body will bend forwards. Then when they follow the in-breath too much, their body will bend backwards. So it depends on their conditions, breathing system, there will be different movements. This is just normal, okay?
Thank you, Sarah.
Any more questions from the participant?
Sayadaw. Hello?
Okay, I can hear. Hello? Hello?
When I meditate sometime for 1 hour, my mind keep wandering and wandering. So the end of the session, I feel very bad and very sad. I'm very disappointed, and I want to know if the karma in the past would have do anything with that. And what can I do to tell myself to be okay with it? So next time I can sit, and if it wandering again, I okay with it. Thank you, Saya.
Actually, when you are meditating, don't pressure too much. If you pressure yourself too much, you cannot meditate very well. This is the one thing, right? So you must relax well. If you cannot relax well, you may have more thoughts. Be careful with that one, right? Another thing is it's not because of past karma. Okay, don't think about past karma, right? It's just present karma. Present karma means you are not used to your first meditation. There's one reason. Another thing is your mind is busy. So although you don't have good concentration, don't complain about yourself too much. If you complain, then more disturbing will come. Okay? So you must determine, I must calm down and I must keep knowing breathing. Okay, if you can know a few seconds, okay, try to maintain a few seconds in the very beginning. Gradually, you can build up your durations of concentration. For example, a few minutes, then go to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, gradually increase longer and longer. The main thing is no pressure, okay? If you have a lot of pressure, you cannot focus well. Don't complain too much also, okay? This is also important. This is a training mind. If your mind is not very calm, also not very quiet, it will get worse. When your mind becomes calm and quiet, you can do better, okay? Make your mind calm, quiet, be patient with your conditions. It will be okay. This one?
How do you book in the timer? Do you book in a timer 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or you just book timer at 1 hour to see
Okay.
how you concentrate?
Okay, for then 1 hour, you can determine many 5 minutes. Okay, for example, when you start sitting, relax your mind, start focusing on the breath. It will be only a few seconds, you may have many thoughts. It doesn't matter. Just bring your mind back to the breath. Don't complain about the thoughts. Okay? It's normal for everybody, not only you. Everybody has the same problem. Okay? All the new meditators have similar problem, especially when they are doing anapanasati. It's totally different from vipassana. Many people have learned many different traditions. In other traditions, it's easy. They can focus all over the body. Very big focusing points. It's easier for them to practice, right? But for anapanasati, it's not that easy. We have to only one object. It takes time to be skillful. That's why just trying to determine for 5 minutes until you are not successfully focusing for 5 minutes continuously. Okay, determine again and again. One sitting, you may be able to focus only one time 5 minutes. Although you try many times, right? Only one time successful is good enough for beginners. If you can do 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, many times in one section, you are strong enough as a beginner. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other question?
Any more questions?
I think in the checks there's a question.
Yes, Shadow. Sarah, there's one participant. Yes, question.
Yes, Bhante. I would like to know when we are breathing in consciousness. But how about controlling it? Do you need to control the breathing, or you just are naturally conscious in your breathing?
Okay. Actually, we don't recommend to control. If you control your breathing, you may feel chest pain and suffocation. You may feel discomfort and uneasy in your body. So more natural focusing, more natural breathing, more natural efforts. It will be easier for you to maintain and to improve. Okay? Then other question?
Hello. Is it noise? I have a question about noise. Is it noise considered to disturb the concentration? Should we put the earplug to block?
Actually, noise is one of the disturbances in our practice, sure. As long as we don't follow the noise or the sound, anything is okay. Sometimes we complain, we follow the noise, right? More disturbing will come. Okay?
Should we put the earplug to block out the noise while we're sitting?
Actually, when it becomes habit, it's not really very good, right? If we just can sit naturally, it's better. But I don't know your community. It's so noisy. Okay, you can also use earplugs. Okay? Okay, the question.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, shall we read from the chat group also? The question from the chat.
Okay.
Okay, the first question, Vietnamese Shadow, is Mara internal or external?
Okay. When we talk about Mara's armies today, right, it's internal. It comes from our mind. its defilements. If we say Deva Buddha, divine beings, is external. Okay? So now, when we talk about Bojjhanga Sutta, Maharaj's armies, all these things are internal. Okay?
The next question. Vietnamese Yado, as a beginner meditator, definitely there are many teachings we do not understand and have many doubts. How should we clear all these doubts so that they will not obstruct our practice? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, to overcome the doubts, we just need to learn, right? If we can learn well, we can overcome the doubts. This is the one thing. So in every single sutta, so we also have many noti passage. Noti passage means some part of the teaching are not easy to understand. We call noti passage, right? So for noti passage, we have to ask from the teacher. Only teacher can explain noti passage. Then any other thing?
Okay. Next question. Vietnamese Yado, could Sayadaw explain again how to overcome drowsiness? Sayadaw mentioned to know the meaning of chanting when we feel drowsy. May Sayadaw explain practically how we should do it? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. For example, Namo Tassa, right? Mentally chanting. So when we feel drowsy, we just keep chanting Namo Tassa, Bhagavato, Arahato, Sammasambuddhassa, and so on. This is called chanting, right? So not only that, we can also use another one, the recollecting the meaning. For example, Bhagavato. What does that mean, Bhagavato? Now we have to know the meaning of Bhagavato. Similarly, Arahato. What's the meaning of Arahato? We have to analyze the meaning. Sammasambuddhassa, we have to analyze the meaning. If we analyze the meaning, then our mind is busy, we cannot feel drowsy. Right? Then again, next one.
On the Sayadaw, which way of spreading metta is suitable when sending metta without attaining jhana? Is it better to spread to all beings or start with respected same gender individual, then neutral person, etc.? When is a suitable time to apply sending metta? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, I should answer the last one, right? Mostly when we have a lot of worry, a lot of fear, a lot of unpleasant minds, that we can do metta. It's the time to radiate metta. So for beginners without jhana, just to subside some defilements, that we can do metta also. So at the time, we don't need to follow the procedure. We are not trying to attain jhana. We are just trying to calm down our minds. That is why we can radiate metta to ourselves, and we can radiate metta to all other living beings around us. Then in this way, we can train, we can calm down our minds. So if we are trying to attain jhana, you must follow systematic way, respected one, dear one, indifferent one, and in the equanimous one, or indifferent ones, right? It depends on the condition, we can change the system. So in your case, without jhana, just to calm down, you can do yourself and all living beings is good enough. Next one.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next question. On the Sayadaw, how to avoid being arrogant, ungrateful, and disrespectful of others? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. In this case, when we are arrogant, we must remember there are many people better than us, right? Sometimes we think we are smart. Actually, there are many people smarter than us. Trying to recall their ability, stronger one, then we can be humble. We cannot be smart everywhere. Only we can smart in somewhere, some parts. Similarly, ungrateful or disrespectful, right? In reality, if we try to remember other people's value and other people's gratitudes. For example, sometimes we hate somebody, try to remember the way he helped us, right? If we try to recall other people's value, other people's quality, then we may not be arrogant or we may not be ungrateful or disrespectful for other people. Okay?
Sadhu, 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 sadhu. Next question. On the Sayadaw, I aware quiet, subtle breathing most of the time. Today, wearing slow, continuous breath, but I felt the gap between in and out breath is longer than usual. And breath is stronger, including noticing the touching sensation to the nostril wall more than usual. Is it suitable to aim to aware subtle or quiet breath? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. If the gaps between in and out breath is longer, you must be more patient. So if you can know in detail, okay, for example, you say whole breath body, mostly we say in Pali, Sabakaya Parisamvedya, whole breath body. That means you can know breathing in from the very beginning to the end, the breathing out from the very beginning to the end, and the touching point. So in this way, you can also maintain. So in your case, I just recommend to be more patient. Okay? Touching sensation, okay, it doesn't matter. You can also keep doing touching sensation, but don't emphasize focusing on sensation too much. If you emphasize focusing on sensation too much, you may feel tension. If you feel tension, stop focusing on the sensation. Okay? Next one.
Pandemi Sayadaw, Nibbana is real thing or just state of mind? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Nibbana is an ultimate reality, ultimate truth, right? We cannot say produced by mind or take by mind. Okay, next one.
Okay, the next question is a Vietnamese question. Could Vietnamese interpreter Bante help to translate? Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay. Okay, then this one.
Okay, the next one. Vietnamese Sayadaw, if someone does not have the concept of nimitta to begin with, is he able to develop nimitta in practice? Nimitta seems to be very unique to the Theravada school. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, here you say the concept of nimitta, right? Actually, we cannot say it's a concept. It's really happened, right? So the main thing is practicing, we can experience nimitta. That is why we cannot say only Theravada school or any school, right? When we are meditating, nimitta is important. That means when we talk about jhana, nimitta is the object of jhana, right? So it's not because of Theravada or Mahayana or any other traditions. It's just the object of, right, the way of jhana.
Okay. Sayadaw. The next question, Vietnamese Sayadaw, please Sayadaw advise, can people live without desire? How to the right understanding about that? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, okay, here we have two different things for desire. Sometimes we have an improper desire, we have proper desire, right? Two different things. We cannot say people without desire. For example, we may have desire to attain Nibbana. And this is a desire, not greed, right? So this is a good desire. Similarly, we may have desire to meditate. This is also good desire. So the main thing is that we must not have that desire. For example, now how you list out Mara's armies? Okay, many of them are bad desire, right? Bad things. If we have many bad things or many bad desires, this is improper, right? So we cannot say people without desire and life without desire. There must be desire for everybody, but only two different things, good and bad. If we have bad desire most of the time, then we cannot improve. When we have good desires most of the time, we can improve. Okay? For about right understanding, be careful, right? Without desire, it's impossible. Another one? No more?
No more questions. Any question from the participant? Any more questions? One sister.
Dạ con bạch sư, con có câu hỏi này. Con mới tập thiền mấy ngày nay, nhưng mà có điều là con có biết là khi thi thiền là mình không có được suy nghĩ chuyện gì hết, mình chỉ tập trung vào hơi thở thôi. Nhưng mà có điều là con ngồi thì cái sự suy nghĩ nó cứ nhảy vô đầu con, xong rồi con muốn stop nó lại thì con nói là không suy nghĩ nữa, không suy nghĩ nữa thì nó sẽ hết, nhưng rồi nó lại nhảy tiếp vô nữa, nó làm cho cái việc con ngồi thiền của không có work lắm. Đâm ra con muốn nhờ sư hỏi coi con bị cái trường hợp đó là như thế nào.
Okay. So having one thought is normal for every meditator. We cannot say it's a big problem. Then if you follow one thoughts for a long time, it becomes the problem. Okay. Sometimes you are following the thoughts all sitting. This is one of the problem. Another thing is complain. You may complain about the thoughts, then it's also one of the problem. Okay. So that means although you have one thoughts, don't think that you are very bad. This is normal for everybody. Just bring your mind back to the breath. Is it good enough? Okay. So another thing, when you have a habit of thinking, then you have to check what kind of thought is more in your life. If you can reduce the way you think in your life, it will be easier to improve your meditation. Okay. Then any question?
Yes, Sarah.
Thank you, Sayadaw. I have a question on the Bojjhanga Sutta. I see that there are two terms. Can you differentiate a little bit? The Kalisagama and the Dana.
Kalisagama and?
Kalisagama and Dana.
Dana. Dana means
how are
offering?
they done? How are they? No, oh no, oh Tanha.
Oh, Dana.
How are they
okay.
different? How are they different?
Okay. Okay. Actually, Tanha is not only Kilisagama, Tanha also can be many different types of Tanha. For example, we may have craving for life, craving for wrong view, many other craving. These are called Tanha. If we say Kilisagama, that means our mind just follow desirable things. This is called Kilisagama. Okay?
Okay. Any more questions?
Another question, please. So how come Loba is not one of the bad things? The aversion, Loba.
Aversion.
How come this is not listed as one of the army?
Okay, not quite clear. What is it?
Why is it not one of the Mara Sina?
Oh, Maras, I see. Okay. Actually, aversion also a kind of dosa, right? So this also it also should be Maras Amis. One more thing. So, okay, let me check Maras Ami again, right? There will be something similar to China Meja. Okay, next one. Okay, one more thing, sorry. Last one, right? When we talk about ingratitude, okay, remember ingratitude. Ingratitude also can be caused by hatred, dosa, right? Aversion. This is one of the parts. Ingratitude also can be caused by mana. That's why it doesn't mention here, right?
So there are a few more questions in the chat group. Okay, the next question is in Vietnamese. Could Vietnamese interpreter Bante translate?
Actually, dosa can be eradicated by anagami mega. Moha can be eradicated by Arhata mega. That's why for ordinary people, it's impossible to uproot moha and dosa. But for subsiding, we can use many different methods, right? For example, for about moha, we can learn, we can study, we can practice. For about dosa, we can do metta, karuna, mudita, many different methods to overcome. When you study Visuddhimagga, actually there are 11 ways to overcome dosa. Too much, right? So there are the way to overcome that temporarily, right? Not totally uprooted. It will be uprooted by only Arahata Magga and Anagami Magga. Okay? Next one.
The next question, Vietnamese Sayadaw, now my mind condition is sometimes not diligent in samatha because the mind knowing the jhana is impermanent, is dukkha. How to overcome this condition? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, well, one more thing here, right? So sometimes I think some of the ideas are a little bit uneasy for you to change. Okay, I should approach practical way. For example, our body is also impermanent, right? But we still eating fruits. We still wearing clothes, right? We know we're impermanent. But similarly, this is the practice. Jhana is also impermanent. Actually, everything is impermanent. But in the case of concept, don't think about impermanent, suffering, non-self, or any other, right? Vipassana mental state. So when we are going to do samatha, it must be conceptual point, not ultimate truth, right? That's why I don't recommend to have this kind of mindset when you are practicing. When you have this kind of mind, try to remember, we are also still eating, sleeping, walking, doing many different things, although it's impermanent. Why we have to do this? We have to survive. We have to work for it. Similarly, for about the practice, we have to achieve higher level of concentration. We have to practice, okay? So it's a necessary. As you have to eat every day, right? We also need to practice to attain jhana. It's not because of impermanence or permanence. It's a necessary or it's a compulsory, okay? The next one. Okay, Vietnamese question. Already asked, okay. Then, no more? Nearly Siddhari. No more question? Okay, we should stop, right? Okay, now we will share merits, right?
Yes, Sayadaw.
Ita wadaja amehi sambadam bunya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe saddha numodandu sabba sampatti siddhya idame nyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idame nyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idame nyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idame punyam asavakaya vaham hotu idame punyam nibbanasa pajayo hotu mama punya bhagam savasatanam bhajemi te sabbe me samam punya bhagam labantu sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Thank you, Sayadaw, and thank you everyone for your time and participation. Till we meet again tomorrow, may all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.